That's right. We're back. Okay. First thing I want to say is I'm going to show you guys a technique I've been using for 5 or 6 years. It's really kind of starting to come to light out there but a lot of people are doing it. It's not a secret. I'm going to do a video on it. I just went down, did Bass University, and I talked about this rig, this technique. And it's probably, well, out of everything I've fished over the years, last 10 years, it's probably the most effective bait for catching fish, small ones, big ones. And I'm not going to lie. The live scope is, you use this technique with live scope. It's phenomenal. Okay. Now I want to say one more thing. Everything I'm going to talk about here is my opinion. It's things I've learned doing it. I don't know everything. I never claim to do, ever. So what I want to do is I'm just going to kick into this thing. We're going to get started. So you've heard of the hover rigging. I don't know. There's a bunch of different names to this. But what we have here, let me show you this real quick. Okay. This is a crappie jig. All right. I've been using this bait, doing the exact same technique for crappie for a long time. Okay. And, now all we're doing now is we are taking that bait and we're just making it bigger. And we're catching bass off of it. Okay. So it was very simple, like even before live scope, we'd find crappie or fish in an area. And then we'd take this little jig, primarily crappie, and we would mark them and maybe with a buoy marker, and we'd throw our bait over there and it would drop down. We'd count it down. We knew where those fish were sitting and what depth. And then we just kind of wind it real slow. And we kept it really light, ultra light rig. This is a super small bait, so you're throwing this on a spinning rod, and you're counting it down, and you're just destroying the crappie. Now, we have live scope, okay? Love it or hate it. This is fun. It's a fun rig to use and catch all kinds of fish with. And, all kinds of fish with. And so now we're out looking for bass, crappie, what have you. Maybe singling them out. Maybe there's some rummers, whatnot, and we're throwing this bait up there and we're catching those fish. So, it's really cool. But what I want to talk about is some really important keys to being successful with this bait. Super important. And like I said, my opinion, these are the things I've learned. I want to share them with you guys because it's such a great technique to catch bass with. So, all right. First thing is you can throw this bait. And this is how I throw it most of the time, okay? You could throw this bait right here with a jig head. So you take any jig head you like. This particular head right here is a Gamakatsu round ball head. The reason I like this head, this particular head, is you can get a lightweight with a bigger hook. So if you go on Tackle Warehouse or any of the websites, you can pick out like a 4-aught or 3-aught hook or whatever, and it's still like a 3/16 ounce. You know what I'm saying? So the reason I like that and what is so crucial to this bait is you want it to be as natural as possible. So first off, you want your hook to fit your bait. So if you're going to throw a bait this size, you need a jig head that when you put a shit up against the head, see how shorter, see where this is a jig head. See where it's coming out on the head. Now, will that catch fish? 100%. They'll bite it. You can hook them, no problem. But for me, I want to get my hook a little bit further back on the bait. I kind of want it to be in the center of the bait. And so if you can see here, this is a different style hook, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. But if I were to put a jig head on this plastic here, this is a Berkeley saltwater bait. It's just called a jerk shad, and I love it. It's really soft and it's a cool bait. But anyways, I would want to up my hook size, but a lot of the fish I'm going to be fishing for maybe only be 10 foot deep. So I want to keep this weight size, 3/16. So what I'll do is I'll get one of those hooks that have a longer shank hook, okay, but I'm still keeping the same weight. So I got that hook back there on the bait further. I feel like I'm not going to lose as many fish. I can get hooked up to them and set the hook. So that's the most important thing about this hovering or magic shad. I think Mike Iaconelli is what he called it. To me, is keeping the bait depending on the depth you're fishing. So if your fish are in that 5 to 10 foot suspended, it doesn't matter what depth you're in. You need to keep your presentation as light as possible because it looks natural. If you throw a bait out there and it's got a heavy head on it and it splashes on the water and it sinks like a rock, well, you're not going to be able to fish this bait effectively. So the question is, how do you fish this bait effectively? Well, when you find fish on the live scope, I like to throw this bait past the fish. I like to keep it above their head. I want them to kind of be surprised when they see it, and I want to tease them. This is like a tease kind of bait to me. I want them to see it up there. It's not moving a lot. It's staying in the strike zone, but it's teasing the bass, and I'm wanting to get them to come up and try to eat it. If I can get them to take the effort out to go up there and check this bait out, more than likely they're going to eat it. Okay. And so that's what I'm trying to achieve. So able to achieve that, you have got to have lightweight, and you need to keep it look natural. And it's super simple. It's not rocket science here, folks. Keep your head light. Now, if you got fish that are down there in 30 foot and you're sitting in a tournament and you need to get your bait down there quicker, well, you just up your weight size, quarter, whatever, half ounce maybe. I don't know. It just depends. I'm more patient person. So like I'll throw a lighter head that like is kind of excruciating slow to get down there, but it tends to want to get more bites because it's more natural. Okay. So that's basically all this is. Now I'm going to show you another cool way to rig it. And a lot of this stuff I'm going to tell you guys is I'm not going to sit here and tell you all my sponsor plugs. I am going to tell you the stuff that I use, truthfully. And I'm going to talk about a couple other ways to fish this bait, different styles, and are very effective. The other thing is there's times, and I've seen these times where, and believe it or not, I mean, I really don't like to get super particular on baits and stuff like that. But with this one in particular, because I've fished it so many times, I have seen days where, look at this hook I've got in here. Do you see any lead out there in front or anything? No, actually the lead is in the hook here. And this is a cool hook, and it's made my core tackle. My buddy Matt Steffen, and another guy, they've been promoting this hook, and it's phenomenal. Okay. It's got a good hook in it, super sharp. And it's got the weight in it, and it's even the weight is positioned differently. So instead of having a jig head up here where you have your weight on the front, now you've got it in the middle. So this bait's going to sit more horizontally. It's going to be more realistic. But what I'm saying is there's times where that simple adjustment in the bait, like if they're feeding and it just doesn't matter, you can throw the jig head. But if it gets like super tough, that hook right there gets the job done for me. It's just, not only does it hide the lead, it's just more natural. You know what I mean? Like it just flows through the water easier, better, more natural. Okay. And I have access to the pool. And I can go in and look at these baits, and it looks great. It's a subtle difference, but it makes a really big difference in those certain situations where you need to get a bite. Maybe you're on a lake where it's just super high pressure. Maybe everybody's doing this thing, and you want to be able to get more bites. So, that's something cool. Core tackle. Check out the hook. I think it's called the Tush hook. But Matt's got a whole bunch of cool different products on there, and you should check them out. Another thing I will say, bait and that I used this past year too, especially when I got up in the smallmouth realm, is what I like. And you can do the same thing with this bait. This bait will go down on the bottom. It'll stay. This bait right here. Okay. This is the Berkeley new, switch bait, power switch. Get that hook in there. This one's different because the weight is up on top of the head, up here towards the front, And when I'm fishing like smallmouth stuff on the bottom, this bait wants to lay perfectly. It'll go set down there on the bottom. You can snap it up. It's got great action, and to me, this bait's way more effective towards the bottom of the water column, towards the bank, towards the bottom. If you're fishing on the bottom, if you're fishing smallmouth, or say you've got some fish, a school of largemouth, and they're down there like 30 foot or 20 foot, and they're holding tight to the bottom. This is the bait I'm going to be picking up, the Berkeley Power Switch. Make various sizes of it. The hook, the weight, everything is inside the bait. All you got to do is tie it on and you can throw it. Super realistic. This tail gives off really good action. It's got like a little flat paddle tail on it, and it's got some really cool action. So, that's my three, really the three different types, what I'm going to use when I'm doing this hovering technique. Okay. So now is like, where, and this is kind of a simple answer, but you might be asking, where do I throw this thing? What time of year can I throw this thing? I'm telling you, you can throw this bait year round. Okay. Yes. Is it better when the water's cooler? Absolutely. All fishing is better. Summertime, it can be tough. Sometimes you can't get them to bite any of those baits, but out of all the baits out there, I mean, it's a shad and it's up in the water column and it looks like a real shad, and it's acting like a real shad, or maybe it's an injured shad. Like if you think in the summertime you got some fish that are schooling and stuff like that, this bait is mimicking that. You can just let it kind of fall, like they think, it's a dead shad or something like that. They got hit by a schooler or whatever, and so they'll tear it up. And it just looks so natural, and bass love feeding on shad. I mean, they do it all over the country. So, it's just a great presentation. You can do it year round. Right now on my lakes in the Ozarks, there's fish. Like if you go to Table Rock, you go to Bull Shoals, you're going to catch deep fish. Okay. Really deep fish. And they're going to be suspended a lot of times. Sometimes they may be close to the bottom, but a lot of times they're going to be maybe suspended sitting above, timber. And this bait's heavier and it gets down to the bottom quicker. So this Berkeley Power Switch is a bait that I'm going to be using predominantly. Matter of fact, here in about a week, I'm going to be going up to Bull Shoals, or I think either Table Rock or Bull Shoals. I think we're going to be on Table Rock, and I'm going to be showing like my live scope and how I catch this fish. I'm doing a video with Wired to Fish, and where I'm going to be showing you guys kind of the details on that. And when I get my boat and stuff done, man, I'm going to be getting out there on the water and doing some more video and stuff on the water. I'm really trying to share some knowledge I have, and be more informative to you guys so you can learn some more stuff. Cause like the cool thing is with, the success I've had, I feel like you guys, you might want to learn, kind of what I'm doing. And I'm not a secretive person. I'll tell you, all the things I know, but, I just want to help you guys catch more fish. That's it. I shouldn't have rambled. But so wintertime, deep fish, over timber, suspended timber. You can take your live scope. You can find that bait and that shad down there, find where the fish are at. A lot of times, even this time of year, I'm seeing fish way up in the water column. General rule, keep this in mind. Don't forget, if the fish are higher in the water column towards the top, generally they eat way better. They're easier to catch. Those are the ones I'm looking for. I don't get excited when I see a school of largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass, and they're just 40, 50 feet. Now, can you catch big ones doing that? 100%. Like I said, Table Rock, Bull Shoals, some of these Ozark lakes, deep, clear reservoirs. That's where there's a lot of big fish are, and you can catch them there. But other parts of the country, I really like those fish that are a little shallower. So, anyways, we'll do some videos on some actual fishing. This is just me rambling, but I wanted to show you guys those three things, so you could be aware of the technique, the hovering, the whatever you want to call it. It's very cool. And I've won a lot of money on that. I over the past years. And it's a super effective way to catch bass. And a lot of you probably already know that. And maybe you didn't learn anything today. I'm sorry. There's some folks out there that maybe don't know anything about it. and it's good. And listen, if you don't get a chance to get out there in the boat and you're fishing from the pond bank and stuff like that, you can catch fish doing the same way. I mean, it's so natural. So I would suggest if you're fishing from a pond is keep your weight size really light. Okay. Keep it light and like on a jig head, keep it super light. So when you're in a pond, you can keep that up and you can cast this bait out. This is how I fish it. I cast it out. I let it go down. If I'm fishing a pond and I don't have live scope, I'll cast it out and I'll let it go, count it down, maybe 5. I'll kind of pitch it in the water first before I do that. And I'll watch the bait and see how quick it falls. Okay. And then I'll make that long cast and then I'll just shake my rod tip and I'll reel it. I'll be shaking it and reeling it at the same time. It's exactly how I fish it with live scope. And, you can just throw that thing around and shake it and wind it in and you're going to get bites. I mean, this is to me, the greatest lure of all time, most fish catching bait that you can throw anywhere and all over the country and in ponds and in lakes and everywhere is a fluke. Okay. Well, this is really basically the same thing, except you're able to fish this bait down and it's got more of a different action to it, So, check out this stuff. Give me some comments. If you guys want to hear me talk about what I do in other situations, let me know. I'd love to do that. And I'll be making some more videos and stuff. And I appreciate you guys watching. I love you. Getting ready to kick off the 2024 Elite season, and I'm super pumped. Really, really wanting to win another tournament. Not gonna lie. Gonna be fishing in the Bassmaster Classic too. So we will see you guys later. Stella, tell them bye.
Baby.
Jovi, show him your gun. Show him your gun. You gonna shoot a big old deer or what? There you go. Oh, it's broken. Pow! We'll see you later.